Okay, the last thing from the appendix, from conversions, is how do we take care of conversions that have square units or cubic units? And again, these are fairly challenging because you have to think of these square units as two-dimensional and the cube units as three-dimensional. All right, so we're going to start off with square unit. So to understand what a square unit is, all right, so we want a square block, right? This is area. So suppose I have this square block, which means every side is the same size. So suppose one side of this is 1 inch. And so that means all the sides are 1 inch. And so we want the unit measure of this area. Well, it's 1 inch by 1 inch. And so this is 1 inch squared, or 1 square inch. Which again, we write that as 1 inch squared. Right? It works the same way if it was a foot, 1 foot by 1 foot. This area would be 1 foot squared, or 1 square foot, or meters, 1 meter by 1 meter. This would be 1 meter squared, or again, 1 square meter. Right? This would be 1 square foot, the area of the square unit. Each side has a foot, and so in order to find it, there are two sides to it that we have to sort of, there's the length and the width. And so if we want to convert, we have to keep that in mind that there are two sides. So an example would, suppose we want to convert a square foot to square inches, or vice versa, the other way around. Well, you've got to keep in mind that 1 foot equals 12 inches. And so when we have a square foot, there's two sides of that. Each side is a foot. So this side has 12 inches. This side has 12 inches. And so we want to know how many inches, square inches, right? How many of those blocks, these square inch blocks, fit in a foot. Well, if you wanted to count them, you can, but as it turns out, it equals 100. There are 144 square inches in 1 square foot. And where that comes from is that we have to multiply both sides. We get this foot by this foot. Well, there are 12 inches in this foot, the side, and 12 inches in this foot. And so we take 12 inches by 12 inches to get 144 inches squared, right? So for every 1 foot squared, there is 144 inches squared inside that. That would be every single one of these. If we added them up, there'd be 144 of them. All right, and if we wanted to convert that, so suppose I wanted to convert 4 square feet to square inches. All right, so remember, square feet, which means I have two sides. There would be 4 feet on that side and 4 feet on that side. For each of those 4 feet, there are 12 inches for each of them. All right, so I have to multiply by 12 inches twice to take care of the two sides. And so when we do this, there's 2 ways to do it. You can multiply it out together, and I'll show you both ways. I need to get rid of both feet. There's 2 of them here. That's what the square feet means. And so, remember, for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. And so I could go for every 1 foot, I have 12 inches. Well, that only cancels out one of the feet. I still have 1 left over, so I need another set of 1 foot and 12 inches, right? I need 2 of them because there's 2 sides to that. And so, and again, I need 2 of them to get square inches, right? 12 inches by 12 inches. And then there are 4 of them altogether. And so you end up multiplying your 4 feet squared by 144 inches squared. And so you'll take your 4 feet times 12 times 12, or times 144. You should get the same thing. It should come out 576 inches squared. All right, so you just have to keep that in mind. There are two sides when we're squaring it. And so then what if we add something to that? What if we do a cube? All right, cube works the same way, except it's in 3 dimensions, right? So a cube unit has 3-dimensional sides. There is a length, a width, and a height. And so if I have a cube unit, it would be volume, would be cubic units. Suppose this is my cube and I have 1 inch on this side, so that would be this side of my cube. But then this side is also 1 inch. And then this side is also 1 inch. And so to find the volume of the cube, it would be 1 cubic inch, or we write that 1 inch cubed. All right, that would be the entire volume of the cube. And it would work if you did 1 foot, so that would be 1 foot on this side, 1 foot on that side, 1 foot here, and so this would be 1 foot cube, or 1 cubic foot. Same thing if it was 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, this would be 1 meter cubed, or again, 1 cubic meter, right? That would be 1 meter cubed, 1 cubic foot, right? 1 cubic foot. All right, so if we want to convert that, we have to keep that in mind. All right, so an example would be, well, if I want to convert cubic feet to cubic inches. And so this would be a cube in feet. Well, I want to convert it to inches. So remember, each one of those little blocks in there represents a cubic inch. And I want to know, well, how many cubic inches are in this cubic foot? So remember, each side, this is 1 foot, it's not labeled there. This one is 1 foot, and then the height is also 1 foot. I want to know how many of these little cubic inches make up. Again, there's a lot. There's a lot because there's 3 of them. Right, this would be 12 inches, this would be 12 inches, this would be 12 inches, and so it's by a cube, 12 inches cubed, right? 1 foot cubed would be 12 inches cubed, right? There would be 3 of them, 12, it would be 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches. That's where we get the cube. Or again, 12 cubed is a fairly large number. 12 cubed comes out to be 1,728 cubic inches. So in this 1 foot cube, there are 1,728 of those little 1 inch cubes. All right, so let's do a conversion. I'm going to do 2 conversions. There's only 1 listed here, but I'm actually going to do 2. All right, so I'm going to convert square feet. So how many square feet are there in square yards? So I want to convert 3 yards squared to square feet, to feet squared. All right, so I know, so this is squared, that there are 3 feet per 1 yard, and you can look that up in the table. So there's 2 ways to do this. All right, you can either set up the convert twice, so I know I have 2 yards there, or I know I need these to be squared, so I'm going to square both sides. 3 feet squared, 1 yard squared, right? So this will give me 3 squared, which is 9 feet squared is equal to 1 yard squared. So I know for every 1 yard squared, there's 9 feet squared. All right, so I start off with 3 yards squared, and I want to convert to feet squared, so I want to get rid of yards. So 1 yard squared is equal to 9 feet squared. So you multiply that out, that would give me, the yards cancel out, that would leave me with 27 feet squared. And again, it should make sense that that's the case, right? If I think about it, there would be 3 yards on this side, 3 yards on that side. And so if you multiplied that out, each of those 3 yards, each of those yards represents 3 feet. And so when we multiply it out, we have to multiply it by 3 twice, right? There's 2 of them, 2 sets of them. So we'd have 3 yards squared, and we'd have to multiply by, well, for every 1 yard, there is 3 feet. Well, that would cancel one of the yards out, but I need a second 3 foot for my yards. And so we would end up getting 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27 feet cubed. All right, 27, that's a foot, looks like an 8-foot cubed. All right, well, I didn't write one down, but I'm going to add one to it. I'm going to convert a cubic one since I didn't do a cubic example. All right, so I'm just going to add a cubic example here. So I'm going to erase this, and you can just put this on the side of your notes or on the back of your notes or something along those lines. Like I said, I'm just going to add a problem because I didn't do a cubic example, and I want to do a cubic example. All right, so let's say we want to convert, so we want to see how many cubic feet are in 5 yards, 5 cubic yards. All right, so cubic this time. All right, so remember, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So there's two ways. The easiest way to do it is I want to get a cube, right? I need cubic feet from cubic yards. All right, so how many cubic feet are there in 5 cubic yards? Well, you could just cube both sides. So cube. So 1 cubed is 1, so that would give me my yards cubed. 3 cubed. So 3 times 3 times 3 would be 27 feet cubed. And so that would be the conversion. So 5 yards cubed times. I want to get rid of the yards cubed, so 1 yard cubed. 27 feet cubed. My yards cancel out. So I take my 5 times 27. And so there would be 135 cubic feet in 5 cubic yards. And again, remember, cube should have 3. So I should multiply 3 times. It should make sense because there were, each little cube would have had 3 sides to it. So 3, that's where the 27 feet cubed come from. All right, and so that's where that 27 feet cubes come from. And so you just have to be careful when you're going cubic, you just need 3. All right, the easiest way is just the cube or the square. That's the easiest way I find. So again, that sort of finishes up the last thing on here, and for some reason it's on here twice, so just to kind of ignore it, is I throw on some extra problems. So you know, like the forums, all right, so the forums are a place for you to go ask questions. I put on problems on here that are very similar to what are going to show up in your homework and also on the quiz eventually. And I gave you the answer to it. So see if you can't do this. If you don't know where the factors come from, pop one of these questions into the forums and I'll walk you through it. First, try them on your own, all right? So try to convert kilometers to miles, all right? Again, there's the answer. Try a conversion between parsecs to light years. These are all on your sheet. Convert, and again, so on and so forth. So make sure you kind of go through here, pesos to dollars. Again, the answers are given, but see how I got the answer. See how the answers come from. If you don't understand it, make sure you ask. You can either ask in the forums, and either you or a classmate can answer, or I'll answer in the forums. Or if again you really need to talk it out, you could always request an office Zoom as well. All right. So again, these are just some additional problems for you to work on, and I posted them twice for some reason. They're just on here twice. Ignore the last page. It's the exact same problem. So these are just sort of practice problems to prepare you for the homework. These are similar types of questions that'll show up on the homework. These are similar type questions that'll show up on the quiz and then eventually the midterm exam. All right, we'll stop there. That finishes up our first set of notes.